AP, perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my neck, I stay shining. It's never hot around my jewelry, chasing climbing. I went and got that new back, I stay grinding.
Y'all already know. Y'all already know. Welcome back. Welcome back to Browns Only. Hey, I don't know if y'all caught that game, but we got a new starting quarterback in Cleveland. It's me, your host, Rudy. Browns Only back in the building. I told y'all I was on I think I mentioned it that I was on a apparel boycott up until Shadeur started. So that's lifted. So, I had to go get some new gear, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about our Cleveland Browns as they're coming off a game where they played I'm probably going to call them the Oakland Raiders. Your mama named you Oakland, so I'm going to call you Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas. Now, the Browns hadn't won a game in the Pacific Standard Time Zone it's been since the early 2000s, and they hadn't beat the Raiders in about that same span of time. It had been a grip quite some years, 10, 15 years. Also, a Browns quarterback had not won his starting debut as a rookie since when, folks? That's my trivia question. Do you know the last Browns starting rookie quarterback to win their opening debut? Who was it and when did it happen? That's what I am asking you to start the show. I'll try to remember to come back and give you the answer. I'll give you a hint. The quarterback was out of Georgia. All right. So, hey, we got a lot of things we want to get to on the show today. The Browns, I just told you, they were battling against the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith led, Pete Carroll led Las Vegas Raiders. Also, Ashton Janti, one of their early draft picks. We'll talk a lot about rookies and draft picks in today's show. But the Browns did come away with the 24-10 victory, which was actually their first home victory since the beginning of their first away victory since the beginning of last season. Also went back to they hadn't won in the Pacific time zone it had been some years. It had been going on about 15 years since the Browns won in the Pacific Standard Time Zone or beat the Raiders and even for that won an away game. But they got all those things done, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 24-10 in a game where the defense for the Browns loomed large in Shadeur's starting debut. We'll touch on how he did in just a second. Obviously, he came away with the victory, which is something no other Browns QB had done. I'll mention it now. Since 1995, and this isn't even the Cleveland Browns iteration that we have now. This is the Baltimore Ravens Browns. Y'all don't like me to put it that way. I don't care. This is that's their history. So, Eric Zaire was the quarterback, the last quarterback to win his rookie starting debut for the Browns. That was back in 1995. Bill Belichick was the coach then. That's how long ago that it has been. And the Browns defense helped to bolster the victory with 10 sacks. Your man, future Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett had 3 of those sacks himself. He's now got 18 for the year. Big discussion around will he set the all-time Strahan season sack record for most sacks in a season at 22 and a half. He is on pace to beat that. The Browns have 6 games left, including matchups against, for example, the Titans, even the Bengals, who Myles has a lot of success against traditionally, especially now that Burrow's back. And he is only 4.5 sacks away from that. But you can't take away from the effort really all just the defense, especially the defensive line as a whole. Obviously, we've already touched on the addition of Malik Collins and, kind of what Mason Graham is doing to bolster the middle of that defensive line. But let's go back to Shadeur's start. if we just look at the stats, the tail of the tape, 11 for 20, 209, a touchdown, a pick, a ugly pick early in that game where he threw into basically the linebacker tried to bait him. Looked like he was going to drop in the coverage, but then basically stayed in the spot and read the spot, anticipated, I believe, a curl route and had an interception. But other than that, Shadeur looked clean for the most part. And also in the victory, he had a couple impressive things he did. He threw a 67-yard touchdown, which a lot of people are trying to discount or downplay to Dylan Sampson. But the one that was even more impressive was the shot play to Isaiah Bond, who really could not get the ball to him throughout the season on those deep plays when Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco was in there for whatever reason. We know that Flacco has a long arm, but I would say that one thing is that Bond is a rookie, right? He's an undrafted free agent rookie, so he's got to develop that chemistry. And I always knew, I had a sneaky suspicion that Shadeur being in there might help Bond raise his game. And I'm surprised more people haven't made this reference, but Bond, Isaiah Bond, might be a secret weapon for the Browns with his deep play ability. In fact, did you know that Shadeur was the only rookie ever? Now, I know I just said when was the last Browns rookie. There were some other things that he did, for example, in this game that were very noteworthy, including like the longest pass in his debut, tying Bernie Kosar, or actually a couple yards short of Bernie Kosar. But he was the only rookie QB ever to have multiple pass plays over 50 yards in his first start. Now, while that is extremely encouraging because you see the big play potential from him, you do want a little bit more consistency, and that's what I'll be looking for in this next matchup against the 49ers, and just being able to consistently matriculate the ball downfield with the offense. Not a lot of first downs early in this game. Again, relying on the defense playing conservative, but Stefanski, he might not have play calling anymore, but his conservative approach, I don't know. I mean, again, one of the things that is going to be a real tell or sign for me is how consistently he moves the team rather than just relying on big plays. But I already mentioned to you guys as well that he's the first Browns to win, QB to win his first ever start as a rookie since Eric Zaire in 1995. Judkins had 2 touchdowns out the Wildcat in this game. Judkins leads all rookie running backs right now with 667 ground yards this year. He had 2 more touchdowns out the Wildcat, which theoretically, I mean, it obviously takes the door off the field to not have the ability to potentially get that practice in the red zone, kind of handling his business down there, getting those touchdowns. But it's what helped propel the Browns to the victory in this game. So similar to how we used Judkins in Miami out of the Wildcat, who some are calling the wild dog, as well as with Shadeur setting a couple of not only franchise, we could say records, or basically breaking some long-standing droughts, but also the first QB to ever have multiple 50-yard pass plays in his first start. If that's not a reason for obviously like hope, right, or to be able to hope that some continuity comes from that with him being the starting quarterback, I don't know what is. But obviously his father, Deion Sanders, Neon Deion Primetime Sanders, or Coach Prime, as people are calling him nowadays. I still remember when he was Neon Deion from his playing days. It makes me want to play Must Be the Money on the next episode, but y'all don't know nothing about that. But with him being there, and again, the nickname Neon Deion Primetime, some are calling Shadeur Showtime Sanders. Tell me what you guys think of that nickname in the chat if you'd like. But again, great. I don't know what to say great, right? The Raiders, they were 2-8 coming into this one as well. Obviously, they're 2-9 now. Raiders is, not a great franchise the way it's looking right now. In fact, they fired Chip Kelly right after the game. Jonte actually had, a solid performance against the Browns overall. Still not a lot of, to show in the run game, right? But pretty effective in the pass game. The rookie running back, he basically as a result of the struggles that the Raiders had offensively. Chip Kelly did get fired or released after the game. But again, I think you get a picture or kind of a glimpse into how the Browns fared. Quinshon Judkins, he had less than 50 yards rushing, right? But he did have those 2 touchdowns. Bond had 2 catches. He had that long, play I mentioned where Shadeur got him down to the 2-yard line, where the Browns did score from Judkins in the Wildcat. So those were a couple of the highlights. There was a big play where Judy fumbled in the game, and he had like a long reception from Shadeur on the sideline. He tried to do like almost like a bunny hop, like a skip. So we were describing it as an and one type of hezzy crossover, but it was unsuccessful, and he fumbled. He got caught from behind. So the score maybe could have been a little bit more, I would say, impressive for the Browns victory. You also got to look at the fact that the Browns, for whatever mystical reasons that, you'll never get an answer out of Kevin Stefanski, they punted late in this game at the 29-yard line, the Raiders' 29-yard line. I never heard of such. I never seen anything like that before. So if you ask, is that the, I guess, furthest a team had got into another team's territory and still punted, I might answer you yes. I don't remember a time that happened. So that's not probably, we can't say that that's great coaching. Maybe overly conservative, right? All right, I'm going to try to do some things that just preview this 49ers game real quick. So starting off, the 49ers are also coming off a victory. Guys, y'all want to come on in? So the 49ers, they're 8-4 now for the year. They're coming off this victory over the Panthers on Monday Night Football. So, I mean, that was about a week, over a week ago now, too. The score in that one was 20-9. Purdy actually had 3 picks. Again, it was a Monday Night Football game in which they beat the Panthers. So, they're still able to overcome Purdy's 3 picks. McCaffrey had 24 carries for 89 yards. And that's who we really got to worry about in this game. McCaffrey's on pace for not only 1,000 yards rushing, but also 1,000 yards receiving. So the Browns are really going to have to focus on stopping him, shutting him down, keeping the ball out of his hands, or at least limiting the yards per carry, which it has been down a little bit for McCaffrey. He's got the most carries in the NFL right now, and they're also feeding him in the pass game. Kittle still doing this thing, 6 catches for 78 yards in that victory for the 49ers over the Panthers on Monday Night Football. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff in Cleveland this Sunday. Tomorrow, the day after Michigan, Ohio State. I'm going to come back and tell you at the end of the show some of the players you should be looking for in that game that the Browns could potentially draft. But first, I got a couple special guests. I don't know how I'm going to squeeze these guys into the camera, but we're going to try. First, we got Khalil. Khalil, my son, what's going on, Khalil? You pop in the camera real quick. I think they can hear you just enough. You want to pop your head down? There you go. You can see yourself. Khalil, now I'm just mentioning to the people, the 3-8 Browns play the 8-4 San Francisco 49ers in Cleveland tomorrow. Let me get your prediction, Khalil. My son, Khalil, again, a student at Morehouse by way of Columbus right now, and he's going to tell you, again, who he thinks is going to win this 49ers Browns game tomorrow. What you got, Khalil?
I think that the 49ers will win without a doubt.
Without a doubt?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Get out of here, Khalil. Get out of here. Thank you. We got one more prediction. So we're going to see if the Browns have any chance whatsoever. So we have Caleb. Come on in here, Caleb. Caleb, okay. So you already know the deal. Khalil is just on camera. All right. So unfortunately, we don't have a way to tie break it, right? So you guys aren't triplets. You guys are twins. So it could be a stalemate. I don't know. This is not pre-rehearsed. Okay. This could have went way wrong. I don't know how it went right wrong. But I appreciate my sons getting involved. It's Thanksgiving weekend, the weekend after Thanksgiving. Again, we got Michigan, Ohio State we're about to watch. I'm fortunate enough to have my boys in town. Caleb is working an engineering job in D.C. right now through his co-op at UC, University of Cincinnati. But he's kind enough to pop in on the show real quick. And I have the same question for you, sir or son. Who is going to pull this game out? Is it the 3-8 Browns? Yeah. All right. Or is it the 8-4 San Francisco 49ers? Who do you think?
I'll be rooting for the Browns, but speaking realistically, it may be the 49ers.
Maybe.
I think it will be a defensive game though.
Defensive game. Okay. Defensive game. Maybe the 49ers. So basically, we're going to say, so you're telling me there's a chance. All right, guys. All right. Thank you.
There's
so
always a chance with the Browns.
There's always a chance with the Browns. You heard what he said. This guy knows. These fellas know. So maybe if you're betting, you take the 49ers, but Caleb's telling you there's a chance. So, with that being said, if the Browns have a chance, what do they have to do to have a chance? Well, let's go over some of the keys to victory. Again, I got to give a shout out to Myles Garrett. He's got 18 sacks for the year. Man, he's playing at an all world, all universe, all galaxy, all solar system level. No one can get after the quarterback quite like Myles Garrett can. 18 sacks on the year, coming off a 3-sack game. It's not just his pressure, his sack ability, his improvement or commitment to improving against the run. It's the interior linemen. Again, I mentioned Collins and Graham earlier in the show. Even Shelby Harris still putting in that work at the DT spot. Well, those guys on the interior are bringing the pressure, which is making it difficult for opposing quarterbacks. Now, I don't see why it'd be much difference for Purdy with that. He may not fare as poorly as Geno Smith and being sacked 10 times, but I did come across an interesting stat today. I don't know why, but the coach of the 49ers, Shanahan, is 1-9 coaching against Jim Schwartz-led defenses. And I don't know if that also includes his time as the head coach for Detroit, but I do think that that's a very interesting stat. Just saying that Shanahan system struggles a bit against Schwartz and his defensive system. Now, I did want to mention that along with Myles Garrett, likely, even if he doesn't get that 22.5 sack record, he will be the defensive player of the year, right? And he's had a 5-sack game, 4-sack game, 3-sack game. I mean, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He might have a 6-sack game for the end of the year. Wouldn't that be crazy? I don't even know if that's possible, but I digress. He will be the defensive player of the year. So what I thought was interesting too is to look at Carson Schlesinger, the rookie out of UCLA, the middle linebacker. I don't get to talk about much. I obviously was a JOK fan too, but it's impossible not to love Schwess. If you liked JOK, you'll love Schwess, right? So for my Browns fans, like Cousin Larry, who always shot on the show, who hasn't got a chance to watch Schwess yet, when you watch him, you will love him, right? This guy is everything you want out of a linebacker, out of a football player, very Browns-esque in terms of like effort and toughness. And he's just got a knack for getting to the football, right? So Swess with right now, I think he's got 96 tackles, total tackles. He's got 2 interceptions in a sack and a half. I think that he's your leader for defensive rookie of the year. I mean, I don't know that there's I can't think of really huge competition that he's got right now for that. In fact, I think that he probably has that defensive rookie of the year locked down. Now, Judkins, on the other hand, he has some potential to get the offensive rookie of the year. He does, I told you earlier in the show, lead rookie runners with 667 rushing yards. Ashton Jeanty, who plays for the Raiders, just slightly behind him in terms of rushing yards. But then you also got to look at some of the other offensive players who are having some success. Jackson Dart for the Giants, who's injured right now, and then also Emeka Buka for the Bucks. Either one of them, could easily edge, Judkins out for the award, and then also his former Ohio State running back, partner, if you would. And Travion Henderson also having a nice year, starting to emerge for the New England Patriots after being in the doghouse early. One thing I wanted to give the shout out to the Browns too was, man, not only the rookie class. Again, we talk about Dylan Sampson having that long 67-yard receiving touchdown, which virtually ended the game against the Raiders. But then, of course, Judkins, potential offensive rookie of the year candidate. Then you talk about Swiss, defensive rookie of the year candidate, right? Then you talk about the two QBs. We talked about Dylan, who maybe, if nothing else, be a long-term backup, Gabriel. And then also, of course, Shadeur, who, again, first QB ever to have multiple plays of 50-plus passing yards in his first game ever starting. Pretty impressive, if you ask me, just in of itself in that. But the Browns also had some undrafted free agents. Let's talk about Gage Larvadain and Isaiah Bond. We talked about that long reception Isaiah Bond had. I believe it was 42-yarder, where he got down to the 2-yard line and caught that pass. He had a huge impact in the game in catching that pass. He caught another, I want to say it was a slant, but he didn't get the first down. But he's starting to emerge, and you can see the connection that he has with Shadeur, especially on some of those deep balls. And Shadeur's got the strength and the anticipation to get it there to him. And I love it, man. I love it. In fact, I need more of it. That's kind of what, I think that is the reason, more or less, that he should, be in there, continue to start. Also, I mentioned Gage Larvadain, also as a returner, and potentially as just offensive playmaker. We haven't seen him in things like reverses and things like that. I will say that one thing I do look forward to still in this season is seeing how Shadeur starts to mesh with some of those guys that were maybe receivers who are further down the depth chart but are hungry, whether it be a Corley, whether it be a Larvadain, whether it be a Bond, whether they go and activate Kate Davis at different points, or even a Floria, right? We saw him in the preseason. So guys like that, we want to see if they'll come back. One last thing I wanted to mention, the Browns won the trades with the Jaguars, man. So we talk about the trade for Tyson Campbell that they made in season. Tyson Campbell's playing at a high level right now for the Browns. Alternatively, Newsome has been benched. So remember, we traded Greg Newsome to the Jags for Tyson Campbell. Campbell's got, the outside corner right now on lock, that second corner, especially with Emerson, obviously being out for the year. But Newsome has not found favor in Jacksonville. But, during the draft, we kind of fleeced Jacksonville again. We got that first-round pick for next year from that additional first-round pick, that second first-round pick. And then, they were able to draft Travis Hunter. But obviously, Travis Hunter's on IR right now for the rest of the year. So not only is he not playing defensive back and receiver, he's not playing either, right? Because he's hurt and he's unavailable. And, I've told lots of people before, in sports, even, when it comes, I'm a boss at work. So, I mean, the best ability is availability. Speaking of being a boss, I want to give a shout out to the sponsors, DQNIL, and then also Big Roo Promotions Entertainment, holding it down for us. We'll be looking to secure more sponsors. Again, with the NIL group, there's a lot of exciting things to come. A big shout out to basically OSHA for passing the high school NIL, now legal in the state of Ohio. So I would just say, if you have needs in that department, you certainly can holler at your boy. It's 937-355-2137. I did want to say, too, with this Ohio State-Michigan game coming on in a few minutes, there's a few names of guys I wanted to drop. Unfortunately, I didn't really have any Michigan players that I could say, in this draft. Michigan's a very young team. You'll see their true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood. But in the draft, I would say that the two guys to watch for Ohio State that the Browns potentially could draft would be Caleb Downs and then also Carnell Tate, right? We don't know if Carnell Tate's going to go for Ohio State at receiver. He'd been out the last couple weeks. But also Caleb Downs, probably not going to be drafted by the Browns because he'll be drafted very early in the top 10. And, we need receiver and offensive line help. But I do think he's the type of free safety that could really be an impact player in the league and worthy of a top 10 pick. We'll see if he has any impact on this game. But I just really think that the Browns have an opportunity with how Shadeur is playing to not have to draft a quarterback, especially in the first round of this year's draft. And I think that would be really awesome and best case for the Browns. I'll give you 3 quick reasons why I think that Shadeur should not only remain the quarterback for the rest of the year, but likely should be our franchise QB moving forward. And look at the energy. Look at the energy that he brought to the stadium for that last game against the Raiders. Not only that defense, they took it up another notch. They've been, lights out all year, right? Probably the best defense in the league, arguably, maybe, other than like the Texans, for example. But the energy was just infectious. It was crazy. I think Shadeur is a leader. I think he's a leader. I think, he said basically, I don't go for that losing. I'm not having it. And he said, hey, he basically said, I know a lot of y'all haters want me to fail. It ain't happening. And I like this. You know what he said too? He said, so this is a winner and this is confidence. He said what I be telling the ladies. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. He said, I heard you've been looking for somebody. Well, I'm him. I said, dang, well, I said, if I was a lady, I'm okay. Right? So that's how you got to do it. You say, oh, you've been looking for me? You've been looking for a man? Well, I'm your man, baby. No, all right, I'm done. So I got it. That's basically what he told the Browns fan base. Y'all don't want to listen though. Y'all see, I'm about to get started. He told y'all, he said, hey, y'all been looking for a quarterback for 20, 30 years. I'm him. I'm that guy. I'm what y'all been looking for. We still got fans out there talking, oh, no, look at that screen pass. It's too long. Oh, no, he's talking. No, he's so confident. Man, if you don't get to the back of the bus. I didn't even think I was going to have to get so animated. The last thing is we talked about the pass to Bond. We talked about the pass to Judy. We talked about man, don't even make me do it. I'm about to hold on. I'm about to hit y'all real quick. We talked about the perfect. We talked about the perfect timing on the Dylan Sampson pass, right? So what I'm saying is, if Dylan Gabriel or whatever quarterback can't complete screen passes and overthrows them behind the line, for example, and can't get that. They can't get that. They could get that perfect time, but I thought it was going to come in with the perfect time. Do I need to copyright that? My bad, Shadeur. I'm going to throw you. Hey, I got you, bro. I got you. You got drafted later than you were supposed to. So basically how it works, and I think, one of the reasons I think that people really don't necessarily, I think I'm just speaking for the haters. Just playing devil's advocate here. I'm not trying to give it no fuel. Remember, NIL is a thing. So, man, these guys is paid, man. Some of these guys got millions already, right? And he's not only not an exception, he is maybe the poster case, right? Because, some people, again, look at him like as a Nepo. I've heard the comparison to Bronny James. One of the things I want y'all to understand is that Kevin Stefanski's dad is a high-ranking, basically official up in the Sixers organization, right? This is how business gets done. Now, there are cases, right, where somebody's parent gets them a job and they don't earn it. But I assure you, I implore you, I defy you to show me an example of how an NFL quarterback could get favorable treatment when the spotlight is on if he's not worthy. It don't happen. In fact, he has so much going against him, man, so much pressure. anybody else would fold, especially people, I think bots more so, that are kind of trying to detract from everything that he's doing. And you got to realize, man, sometimes you might not plan to receive a blessing or a gift, but you got to embrace it. So that was my last point, was that Shadeur's basically ability to get the ball downfield and have that perfect timing and placement is the reason why I wanted him starting from the beginning. Not only does he have the arm strength to complete those 45, 50-yard air yard passes, but then also the perfect timing. Don't make me play that clip again. I will loop that song again. And so he's got the arm strength, but then also the placement and the timing, man. So that's what it's all about. I'm really excited for this Browns game. Now, the 49ers are, of course, favored in this game. We'll see a little bit of weather at this 1 o'clock kickoff. Some people are saying that, it's not going to be real inclement or anything like that. But if you know Cleveland, like I know Cleveland, and you know that lake effect, snow and weather, they say it might be a little bit of rain. They say it's going to be clear. I don't know, man. It's down in the 20s and 30s. It's at least going to be pretty daggone windy, right? So definitely excellent game. Do the Browns have a chance to win? You heard Caleb say it. There's always a chance, right? The Browns do crazy stuff. The Browns did win last time they played the 49ers with P.J. Walker at quarterback. Obviously, these two teams are way different. They're going to have to really limit the effectiveness of Christian McCaffrey and Jennings and Kittle for that matter. And again, of course, force Purdy into some picks, but then, capitalize on some fumbles, some additional turnovers. I think they need to at least force 4 turnovers to really win this game, make it real easy for Shadeur in the offense, couple of chunk plays that he's shown that he's very capable of. And, that would be the keys for a Browns victory, which, again, honestly, it is very unlikely, whereas the Raiders victory was a little bit more likely. I'm going to get up out of here because Caleb actually gave me the feedback. He said I need to start cutting some of these up in the shorts because he said y'all had ADHD and y'all couldn't pay attention the whole time to watch a 40-minute show. I'm just joking with you. The fans do not have ADHD, but I do, squirrel. I got to go do something else. So, hey, I'm going to catch up with you guys next time. I love chatting with you guys. The reason why I take this 49ers Browns show is because I heard I had a lot of people out here in these streets that was wanting to see the show. They said they loved it. They said they love Rudy Rude. They love to see my face and love to see me talking Browns. So you know what? Man, I'm going to always give the people what they want. Until I see y'all next time, we don't know if it'll be this show or if it'll be another iteration of one of our shows. But I'm going to get back at you because I heard you wanted to see me. So I'm going to pull up. I'll pull up sometime soon. Peace. Holla back at y'all. Go Browns!